Today we're actually going to cover the top 3 things that it takes to make an interview look good that isn't lighting. You'll notice all of the topics that we're going to discuss today in movies, commercials, TV shows, especially ones with big budgets. So jumping right into it, the first thing I want to talk about is location. This, in my opinion, is the first of the 3 that you want to address, because the right location can completely level up your production. There's this thing I like to call the E to E ratio, and that is how much effort that you're putting into making the image better versus the actual result that you're getting from that effort. When it comes to location, in my opinion, I think the effort is probably the highest. First off, you have to research in order to find a location that fits the vibe or the aesthetic that you're trying to achieve. Next, you have to book it, secure it, and then you also have to scout it. Or you have to scout it first, then book it, because maybe once you get there, the space actually doesn't make sense for what you're trying to accomplish. It might be cool, but you also need to bring in lights. You also need to bring in gear. If the space looks amazing, but it's too small and you can't fit the gear because you're trying to achieve a wide frame or you're trying to achieve a different look, then that doesn't work. So then you have to go back to the drawing board and then continue on and on. And so I think the effort is the highest out of the 3 that we're working with here. And that's gonna be, in my opinion, like an 8 out of 10. However, on the other end, when you look at the enhancement to the image, when you look at the overall result that you're getting from a good quality location, it makes your image 10 times better. It's a 10x. There's really no measurable number. There's no way to quantify the enhancement that the right location will give you in your image. And there are other things that we're going to talk about that, in my opinion, have a better ratio. And we'll talk about those a little bit later. But everything has its cost and everything has its reward. The risk versus reward, the effort to enhancement ratio has to be considered with everything that you do. Now, let's get into what actually makes a location good. How do we know if it's good? What are we looking for? Production companies or creatives, producers, directors, they're all gonna have their own specific things that they're looking for when it comes to a location. But I like to typically have color. I like to have darker walls or different color walls. For instance, we have, in my living room, we have dark green walls. First off, I love the color. Second of all, I love how it allows the things against it to pop. You can see the colors, you can see the plants, you can see it helps, even this chair, which is yellow, it's a little bit brighter, but it stands out, it pops off the background. Anything that you put against it, a light, those things pop up and show up very easily versus a white wall. Size is going to be one of the things that I look for too. Having a bigger space is going to allow you to choose what focal lengths you want to use. Do you want to use a wide lens for your interview or the shots that you're going for? Typically, wider shots mean you have to have a bigger space in order to get your gear over the frame in order to make it work. So if you want to use something like a 24mm, well, that's a wide frame, and you got to be able to have the space to boom something over depending on how much of the space you actually want to see. Because if you have a big space and it's a good looking space, well, you kind of, what's the point in having putting your subject or the frame at like 50mm or 70mm when you're going to lose a lot of that beautiful parts of the location that can actually help enhance your image. So you kind of want to go a little bit wider if you have a bigger, beautiful space. And so ultimately having a bigger space allows you to create depth, because you can pull your subject far away from everything and you can see further back into the background. Does the space have wood trim? Does it have stairs? Is there texture? Is there depth? Can I see multiple rooms from a certain space? Can I see into a different room that looks good? Because then that creates even more depth because there's layers in the frame. Another thing to think about is does the space have windows? Having windows in your space, in the frame, is great because it gives you motivation for your lighting. Whether the window is off to the left, wherever you place your subject, you can use it as motivation for a key light like I'm doing here. You can also use it as a motivation for backlight, edge light, whatever you want to do if you have those windows and that natural lighting available to you. The cool thing about a location, the right location, is that it makes your job easier. All of these things about a location that we're talking about, it makes your job easier, because a bad location is gonna not give you anything. It's not gonna give you texture. It's not gonna give you color. It's gonna have white walls everywhere. It's gonna be sterile. It's not gonna have color. It's not gonna have plans. It's not gonna have practical lights. What happens if you don't have the luxury of renting a location? This is the space that you're given to work with, and you have to make it work. Maybe you have a good space, but you want to make it great. Or maybe you have a great space and you just want to make it 10% better. This is where set decoration comes in. This can get a little bit more complex as you work with bigger budgets and bigger crews and more complex projects. But we're just gonna keep it simple here for today. For me, what I like to do, at least when I was getting started and I didn't have, stuff to bring with me, or I, wasn't really renting spaces or had control over that, a lot of times I would just show up on site, and if I didn't like a room, or the way that I would make it better is just, okay, let me find my frame. Once I get my frame, I'll find a lamp, I'll find being able to add plants, being able to add in color, being able to bring in contrasting items in the frame and just dressing it up, whether it's art or it's props of any kind that you can find around the office. In my opinion, these kind of things are, according to the E/E ratio, I think this is kind of like a 2 on the effort scale, because you're kind of using what you have, and it doesn't take much effort to just pick up a plant and move it and put it in the background. And I think as far as the effort goes, it gives you a very good return on your image, because now that texture, that color, the practical that you add in the background, that is going to enhance your image, in my opinion, way more than the effort that you're putting. So if the effort is a 2 on this scale, then I think the result actually gives you a 5. And if I was to choose between a lamp or a plant, I would choose something with a light on it. And typically a lamp or whatever, like that's gonna give you more than one way of enhancing the image. And what I mean by that is, when you throw a lamp in the background, one, it's light. Light in the background always looks good. It's gonna be like this little pop of color. On top of it's gonna be a little bit of brightness there, and it stands out. It's somewhere where you can put it into a darker spot of the frame, and now you've got salt and pepper. You've got a dark spot with a piece of lightness breaking it up. You also have a way of using the lamp as a practical means of lighting your subject, as an edge light or a backlight, or wherever the light is coming from. You can motivate the light by using those lamps, or anything that is creating that light. What I like to do on a location that I may not have the opportunity to bring in furniture or change it, what I can do is move it. Can I move it in a position that maybe adds a better framing to my subject? Are there chairs? Are there tables? You can help create leading lines with furniture. You can help create contrast with it. You can help kind of really move around a set and the feel and the vibe of a set just by changing the location and the positions of furniture. For instance, we did a brand film for a premium crane out of Florida, and we had to rent a location. Well, I knew that, it's more industrial, so we wanted to rent a space with a brick background. Well, the space that we were able to rent from was a more corporate style place, but it had that one room that I wanted to use, but it was set up as a conference room. So there was a big table in the middle of it. We had to unplug things from the ground, from the outlets and stuff, in order to get it to move, and it was very heavy. But ultimately we did it because we needed that space. We needed to create space in order for the frame to look the way that we wanted it to, and we didn't want it to look or feel like a conference room. So we needed to create that space by moving the table. And was it a hassle? Yeah, sure. Did it take up extra time? Of course it did. But the result that we got was exactly what I wanted, and it turned out way better for it. Another thing as far as set design or decoration, the chair that you use to sit your talent in is going to make a huge difference. If the chair is big enough to where you can see the color of it, I like to make sure that the chair is going to be a complementary color to the background and that it contrasts with the background. So if it's a dark background, I want the chair to be a little bit brighter. I typically kind of shy away from really big chairs because big chairs kind of swallow the person. And I'm kind of pushing it with this chair right here because it's tall. I kind of sink into it a little bit, and also for the sake of just making this video, I'm okay with it. It's a good looking chair, and it looks like works with the background. But you don't want to have a chair that's completely swallowing your subject or your talent if the person is a small individual. So those are little things to be cognizant of. What color is the chair? How big is the chair? But it also needs to be contrasting to the person that's sitting in it. And that's going to bring us to our final topic, wardrobe. Wardrobe makes all of the difference. Why go through all the trouble of getting an amazing location and doing all of these things and thinking about all of the things that it takes to create this good looking frame and shot, and then it be ruined by you just not telling the person to show up wearing a specific color that's going to be good for the frame, and it's going to be a complementary color to what you have going on. All of your effort then it gets crushed because the person didn't come wearing the right outfit or the right color. They're wearing dark clothes and your chair is dark and your background is dark. So guess what? They fall completely into the background and it just looks like a floating head with floating hands. It just looks weird. For instance, for me, I'm wearing a more copper or brown shirt. This is gonna be, contrasting to the chair that I'm sitting in because the chair is a lighter color. It pops, it's more vibrant. And so me wearing a darker, not necessarily darker, but it's a contrasting color. It's a brown, and so that's going to be able to help me contrast the chair, but also it's going to be complementary to the background. We've got darker greens, we've got some reds, or we've got some lighter stuff back here. This color complements, and it's within the realm of the background and what all is in this frame. If I was wearing a purple shirt or something that was, a little bit off, maybe it was a super bright blue or something, it may still look good, but it may not complement the frame as well. And so all these little things matter. And this also allows your talent to be the main focal point and everything else in the frame to be a supporting character. It creates an additional layer of depth, and it helps your talent look like they belong in the frame. It just has a way of communicating a certain look and feel and can really support the story that you're trying to tell. And to be honest, guys, at the end of the day, even with all the topics that we covered and how important they are for creating a good image, if the story sucks, it's all for nothing. Because you can do all of the things. You can throw all the lights you want into a background. You can do contrasting colors. You can tell the person to wear the right clothes. You can light them to a T. But if the story is not there, if you're not telling a good story, all of that effort was essentially for nothing. We all have seen low budget commercials, low budget productions, TV shows, documentaries, movies, all the time. And their stories were great. We love the movies. They may not have had the most budget. They may have not had the best lighting or cinematography or set design. The story is what keeps us going back to those movies. The story is what kept us watching in the first place. It's what made us care about it to begin with. The lighting, the set design, all of that stuff, all of those things that help support the story and help you tell the story comes after. So making sure that you're telling good stories first is the number one thing. That's all I have for you today, and I hope you enjoyed it and hope you learned something. I appreciate you guys. We'll chat soon.